Hello, and welcome back. This video is about adding generic object pooling functionality that we use for projectiles. And a special thanks to all my supporters. Thank you for helping me help others. So to save a little time, and because we've seen it many times, I created these two new classes and then closed the editor. So the first is derived from actor. The second is derived from game mode base. So for our TD pool actor, this is going to be the parent of actors that we want to have pooled. We just need to add a little bit of functionality. So we're going to add a U function so that it can be used in blueprints. This will be a blueprint implementable event. And we're just calling this onPoolSpawned. This is so that the blueprint has a way to react to being removed from the pool. So the other two functions which we want virtual is onAddedToPool and onRemoved from pool. So we don't need to write the code for this one because that's only in Blueprint. For these two, we can create the functions. And an onAddedToPool, we want to set actor enable collision to false. We want to call set actor hidden in game to true. And then we also have set actor tick enabled. We can set that to false. Now the tick part will depend on how you have that class determined. You can turn this into a variable so that it works a little better, but for now, this is what we can do. We're going to call these three functions as well in the remove from pool and just have the opposite values. So true, false, and true. And then this being removed from the pool is synonymous with being spawned. So that's when the blueprint function gets called. So these functions will be called from inside the pooled game mode when we either get or pool an object. So in our pooled game mode, first I'm going to include the TD pool actor. And then the way that we want to handle the pool is that we want it to be a little generic so that it can handle multiple types. All of those types need to be derived from the pool actor. But outside of that, they can all be separate, and they will be separate, like turret projectiles versus cannon projectiles, etc. So for that, we're creating a T-map. The key is going to be a T subclass of, and we're going to use our TD pool actor. The name of the class has an A on it, so make note of that. And the value is going to be a T array of TD pool actors. And we'll just call this actor pool. Then we want some public functions that are exposed to blueprints. So we can call U function blueprint callable. And the first one, we're going to be returning the actor. And it's get pooled actor from class. The intent here is to match it as close as we can to the spawn actor from class in blueprints. So it takes in the same T subclass of type A TD pool actor. And this will be our TD pool actor class. We want to set along the transform. As well as the new owner. For pooling the actor, it's much simpler. We're just making a blueprint callable event as well. Not event, a blueprint callable function. And this one is just pool actor. And it's taking in that ATD pool actor. And that's it. So for our get pool actor from class, the first thing we want to check is to make sure that the TD pool actor class is not null. If it is, we can just return null pointer. And then we want to create a local variable. Let's call this one pool actor, which is initially also set to a null pointer. And our eventual return value will be that variable. So then in here, the first thing we need to do is we're going to check our map. If our actor pool contains the class we're sending in, we can then get the value from that key. So we want to declare a variable for our T array, a TD pool actor. And this will be a pool actor array. And it's actor pool. Now, I'm going to type this a little differently at first, but then correct it. But normally, or previously, we used find ref in this case, and we're setting along that key value. So when I did this in the prep project, this gets the array, and then you can pop the entry from it, but then you would have to set, even though this is getting the reference, the array here and the array that's actually returned were not being synced. So instead of using find ref in this case, we're going to get rid of the ref, and we're going to make this a pointer. So now pool actor array is actually a pointer to the T array. So in that case, we want to make sure that it's valid. So pool actor array, as long as that is not null, and our pool actor array is not empty, we can continue and just have pool actor is equal to our pool actor array pop. That will pop an entry off it, and it'll be set to the pool actor. If nothing else happened in this function, then it would just return that value, and all good. However, if the class is not contained in the actor pool map, or the array in the actor pool map is valid but it's empty, in both those cases, we want to make sure we're checking the pool actor, and if it's still null, we can then just call our get world spawn actor. This will actually be of type A actor, and we're setting along our TD pool actor class. So even though this is templated into A actor, the class here is making it this type, as we expect. However, our variable is not an actor, so we do have to cast it. And put that bit in parentheses. And now put another extra parentheses. And also to stay in line with how Unreal likes to do things, even though it's only one line, we'll throw it in some braces. So either we popped a pool actor up here, or we created one here. In both cases, we should have or in one of the two cases, we should have a valid pool actor, but we double check anyways, because we don't want to be calling functions on pointers when they're null. So in this case, we're calling set actor transform with the transform we sent in, as well as pool actor set owner to the new owner. And then lastly, we call our own function on removed from pool so that it can call those other three functions. And that's it for get pooled actor from class. For the pool actor, we kind of do the opposite. So in this case, we're going to start by making sure that the TD pool actor value sent in is not null. If it is, we just return. You could turn this function into a bool return instead, return false here, return true at the end. And then in this case, we want to create a variable, which is our T subclass of TD pool actor. We'll call this TD pool actor class. And that's going to be the TD pool actor we sent in, calling get class. So then similar to up here, we can check then if it contains that class. In the case that it does, we want to find it again. We'll copy that down here. We don't need the empty check. And in this case, we're just using pool actor array and calling add. But over here, in the case where the actor pool map does not already contain the class, then we want to add it. So to do that, we want to create a new T-array of type we're using. And we'll just call this pool actor array. We can copy this from here. But if you do copy it from above, you do have to note, and the compiler will give you a complaint. It is no longer a pointer here. So we want to use dot instead of the dot greater than. And lastly, we're just taking our actor pool and we're calling add with this pool actor class and the value we're sending, pool actor array. And the last thing we need to do is on our TD pool actor, call the on added to pool. So to go over that again a little quicker, when we want to spawn an actor, instead we're going to be calling our get pool actor from class. We're sending along that actor class as usual, to transform in new owner as we often do in our spawn. As long as the class is valid, we're going to check if our map contains that class. If it does, we're going to get the array from it and make sure that it's not empty. If it's not empty, then we're going to pop an entry from it. And then down here, we're going to call set actor transform, set owner, and the on removed from pool, which will unhide it, set the actor tick enabled, and enable the collision. In the case where it was empty up here or the class was not part of the map, then we just spawn the actor instead. In pool actor, we're sending along the actor we want to pool. As long as it's valid, we're checking to see if there is already that class in the actor pool map. If it is, then we get the array and add it to it. If it's not, we have to create a new array, add it to it, and then add it to the actor pool map. And lastly, of course, we're on added pool, which kind of does the opposite of on remove from pool here. So the names of these functions, they can be kind of confusing because on remove from pool means that we're actually spawning it or making it available at like a new spawned thing. And added to pool means the opposite, we're despawning it in a way. That also means our on remove from pool is where we're calling our on pool spawned so that in the blueprint we can respond to that or do something custom. So with that done, I'm going to compile and hit and get in the editor, and I'll see you back. So back in the editor, the first thing I'm going to do is in our game mode. This is the game mode that's used when we're actually playing the levels. I'm just going to go to class settings here, and instead of game mode base, we want our pooled game mode. All that's really doing is making those two functions available. So with that set up, and before we actually make changes, if I go ahead and put a filter in the outliner here for projectile or proj. If we run the game, we throw out some towers. You can see up here that it's generating the projectiles. We're at a count of 25 here for the turret because it's creating and destroying them over and over and over. The final count at the end looked like it was about 41. So to make the projectiles a pooled actor instead, we first need to go into our projectile, which is under our towers. The base class for BP projectile, we first want to make sure that the parent of this one is the pool actor. And we want to look at our begin play. There's nothing actually happening here, so that's fine. If you had things happening in begin play, you'd probably want to move that functionality, or at least some of it, to the on pool spawned event. In our on hit target, we're calling destroy actor, so we're going to remove that. And instead, we're going to call our get game mode from the utility, which will give us our BP game mode specifically. And with that, we want to call pool actor. And of course, we're sending along this actor, so get reference to self. So that'll work fine. For the general case, there's a few overridden projectiles that do the same, so we can copy this here. We can actually do a find in Blueprints. We just look for a destroy actor. If your project is not too large, this is not a bad way to find it. If it is large, then you will get many, many responses. So we want to update this in our projectile. So on hit target is what we did here, but we didn't save yet, so it's showing up in the search in our move towards target. In the case where the target is invalid, we can delete this, paste in that, replace it. We go into our cannon and catapult projectiles. They also have an on-hit target, which is calling destroy actor directly. Paste. Save and close that one. And for catapult, same thing. Instead of getting destroyed, the projectiles will all be pooled instead. And then in our BP weapon, where the projectiles are being spawned, we have a, is this it? Fire at enemy function. So in fire at enemy, we're just getting our fire point, and we're calling spawn actor with that projectile class and setting some values. So when you're doing it this way, there's a few things that work out very handily. We had set our damage and radius as expose on spawn, which means if we're calling spawn actor, they're available right here. Very convenient, same with target. The second thing is when you set the class on spawn actor, this return value gets updated. So for example, if I just do a spawn actor from class over here, you can see the return value is an actor object reference return value. If I change this to, let's just make it the BP projectile, it updates this stuff and it updates the return value. Now it'd be nice if we could use this kind of functionality to be able to make it a little easier for people, but while it's possible, it is a lot of work. It's very out of scope for this this video or set of videos. And truthfully, I don't know 100% how to do it myself, but the basic gist is that you have to create a K2 node class, and you get to do it in there. So we'll be not doing that. Instead, what we're doing is we can get rid of our spawn actor here. After we've got our fire point, we can get game mode. And with that, we're going to be calling our get pooled actor from class instead. We can send along the projectile class like we did because now it's a TD pool actor base class. Our target here is the game mode. Similarly for the transform, we can just split this, drag in the location and rotation. We didn't actually set an owner, so we're good to go with that. I'll drag rotation into the proper place. And then again, this is still an actor object reference, so we have to cast it manually. So in this case, we know that we're doing a projectile. The projectile here may be something subclass of projectile, but for what we're using before this change and after this is fine. With that then, I'm just going to save this projectile as a local variable. Just call it projectile. And then for this, we have to manually use the projectile to set the target. And using the name of a variable as target can cause this kind of confusion. We could have chosen a different name in there, but I mean, the Unreal devs do the same thing. You just need to know if you're dragging it out from this projectile, that will be the correct target. And the target we're actually setting is just this value here. Yeah, so it's going to make this a sequence just so it fits a little better. And again, we're using that projectile we just created to set the damage. And again, down here to set the radius. So those are the three expose on spawn values that we have to do manually because we're doing it this way. And for these values, we can grab this over here. delete that one. Make sure it's hooked up, because I never forget to do that. And then similarly with the tower, we'll copy that again and call get radius. And so the end result here then is we're getting our game mode, so we can call get pool actor from class, sending along our projectile class as normal, the other values as normal. We're casting it to a projectile because we don't have the fancy K2 node functionality to make that happen there. And then we're setting the expose on spawn values manually because again, we don't have them exposed on pooling. So this is 98% complete, and I'll show you what I mean. So if we go back in here and we run it, we throw out a turret, you can see that it starts working fine, but then the bullets, you can see the damage is still happening. The bullets don't seem to be spawning. What's actually happening in this case is that one of the caveats of using an object pool system, or at least switching to it when you weren't using it previously, is sometimes you have things that are initialized at the beginning. Maybe they're in begin play, like I alluded to earlier, or sometimes it's just the default value in an actor. As a reminder, we're using last distance to track between the distance at the current time and when the distance is, what was it, greater than last distance or something like that, then we do things. But then last distance gets left in a state where it's not being reset. So this is why we also included the event for on or pool spawned, so that we can simply reset our last distance every usage to that value that we had set. We don't need to do that. You could, but we don't need to do that with damage or radius because that's being set in the weapon where we just saw it. And speed is also set to a default value, but we never change it, so we don't need to reset it. So with that done, we can then do what we did earlier with these 4 types. And up here, you can see that it's getting the pool object, freeing or pooling the object, and then getting it again. That's why these values are not counting up past 1 in that case. If we did it with turrets only and we threw a lot more of them out, you could see that in our map example here, there are more spawned, but there's only ever 5 now that exist at the same time. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video and would like to see more, you know what to do. And if you would like to support this channel, watch these videos 2 weeks early, or just want to download the project files, you can do so through my Patreon linked below.